Hey, you. Imagine for a moment discovering you might actually be entitled to more financial support than you think.
Yeah, like an unexpected deposit maybe, or unlocking payments that could really help out.
Exactly. It might sound, a bit too good to be true, but we've been looking into some, frankly, surprising updates.
Updates that could mean exactly that for you, especially around eligibility for key benefit programs.
That's it. So today's deep dive is all about a really critical financial marker. It affects millions.
We're talking about the 2025 Federal Poverty Line, the FPL.
Right, the FPL. Think of it like a key, a key that unlocks access to vital support.
Help with food, energy costs, even getting online, especially for low-income folks, people on fixed incomes.
Understanding these numbers, it could literally mean more money in your pocket or, lower bills.
That's the goal.
So we got the scoop on the new 2025 FPL figures. And more importantly, we're going to break down how these numbers, they seem simple, but they're the gateway.
The gateway to a whole range of benefits, real financial help.
Our mission today, make sure you understand these thresholds and what they could mean for your access to financial assistance.
Okay, let's dive in.
Okay, so let's unpack this. What are the actual new federal poverty line numbers, the ones we're looking at for 2025? What kind of income levels are we talking about here?
Okay, so for 2025, if you're a single-person household, the line is $15,650 annually.
15,650.
Okay,
And monthly.
that works out to roughly $13,304 per month.
$1,304.
Got it.
And for a household of two,
For two people, the annual FPL is $21,150,
21,150.
which comes out to about $7,762 per month.
Okay. These are really the core income figures to keep in mind, yeah.
Absolutely, because if your household income falls below these levels, well, that could open doors. Significant financial assistance doors.
Okay, those are the new benchmarks for 2025. Now, our sources mentioned these aren't just static numbers. They've actually gone up compared to last year, 2024.
That's right, they have.
So can you tell us about those increases? How much higher are these thresholds now?
Yeah, so for an individual, the FPL, it went up by $590.
$590 more than 2024.
Correct. It was $15,060 in 2024.
Okay, and for two people?
For a household of two, the increase is $710.
$710.
Yep, up from $20,440 in 2024. Now look, these might seem like, kind of modest amounts.
Right, $500 or $700.
But it's really crucial to understand, for someone whose income is like right on that edge,
Yeah.
even a small increase in the FPL, it can make all the difference. The difference between qualifying for support or not qualifying.
Absolutely. These aren't just abstract numbers. This is about real potential for you listening to get more help.
Exactly.
So here's where it gets really interesting. Why are these specific income numbers just so critical? For you, for your potential access to benefits, the kind that can really boost your finances.
Well, the FPL, it basically acts as the main measuring stick. It determines who qualifies for a huge number of assistance programs, federal and state.
Like a minimum score needed, you said.
Kind of, yeah. Think of it like that. To get access to certain resources, these numbers, they might seem a bit arbitrary, but they have a very direct, very significant impact.
On whether you can get help with, like, groceries,
Yeah.
healthcare.
Groceries, healthcare, keeping the heat on in winter, all that essential stuff.
Right. It's like a financial yardstick, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
the height requirement for a ride at an amusement park.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
If you're tall enough, meaning your income is low enough compared to the FPL you get on the ride,
Right.
you get the benefit program.
Exactly.
And our sources pointed out, without these annual adjustments, things could actually get, well, financially tougher for a lot of people over time. Why is that?
Precisely. If the FPL just stayed the same year after year after year, we could see something, it's sometimes called bracket creep, but for benefits. Even if your income didn't go up at all,
Right.
the rising cost of everything else, just daily necessities, could effectively push you over that unchanged poverty line.
Okay. So you'd lose eligibility.
You'd lose eligibility for important programs, not because you're actually earning more in real terms, but just because the benchmark didn't keep up with inflation, with the cost of living.
So these annual adjustments, they kind of protect against that.
They do. They help prevent that from happening, making sure people who genuinely need help can keep accessing it.
That makes total sense. So these adjustments, even if they seem small, they're actually helping people hold on to vital support.
Yep.
Which, means more financial stability for them.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks then. Let's talk actual financial benefits. What are some of the concrete programs tied to these FPL numbers?
Hmm.
What kind of help can folks actually get? Our sources gave some key examples.
Yeah, definitely. There are many programs out there designed to give financial help or, other kinds of assistance.
Like what?
Some of the big ones include SNAP, that's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
Food stamps, EBT, right?
Exactly, helps people buy groceries. Then there's Medicaid, that's huge, provides healthcare coverage.
How many people did you say? Around 72 million?
Yeah, roughly 72 million current enrollees. It's massive. Then you've got LIHEAP,
LIHEAP.
Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. That can mean direct financial help with heating and cooling bills.
Which frees up money for other things people need.
Totally. And similarly, there's LIHEAP, Low-Income Home Water Assistance Program. Helps with water bills, another essential household cost.
Okay, those are definitely major programs. Huge impact on a household budget right there.
Yeah.
What other kinds of financial help are linked to these poverty levels?
Well, there's also the Weatherization Assistance Program, WAP.
WAP, okay.
That helps low-income homeowners and renters, too, make their homes more energy efficient.
Ah, so that saves money long-term on bills.
Exactly. Significant savings, potentially. Then there's the Affordability Connectivity Program, ACP, helps eligible households with the cost of internet service.
Which is pretty essential these days for,
Right.
well, everything. Work, school, finding resources.
Couldn't agree more. And one more to mention is CSFP, the Commodity Supplemental Food Program. Okay.
That provides packages of nutritious food specifically to low-income seniors.
Gotcha. And it's important to say, right, this isn't even the full list.
Oh, definitely not. But it gives you a really clear picture of the range of programs. Programs that offer direct or indirect financial benefits, all based on your income relative to the FPL.
Absolutely. And our source material really emphasized that eligibility isn't just about being exactly at the poverty line, right? It's often based on income as a percentage of the FPL.
Correct. That's a key point.
How does that work? Like, who else might qualify for more assistance?
So, yeah, many programs set their eligibility thresholds as a certain percentage of the FPL. Maybe
Yeah.
above it, sometimes below, but usually above for broader reach.
For example.
Okay, so a program might say you're eligible if your income is at or below 100% of the FPL. That's pretty common, often gives the broadest access.
Right.
But some programs extend eligibility to people with slightly higher incomes, maybe 125% or even 130% of the FPL.
Okay, so using that individual FPL, the $15,650 number. Right. Someone making closer to, say, $19,500, which is about 125% of that FPL. They might still qualify for certain programs.
Oh, interesting.
It really just depends on the specific rules for each program. And, in some rarer cases, you might even see thresholds as high as 150%, maybe even 200% of the FPL.
Wow. Okay, so that potentially opens it up to even more individuals and families needing support.
Potentially, yeah.
That's really good to know. So even if your income is like a bit above that official line, there might still be ways to get financial help through these programs.
Definitely worth checking.
But our source also mentioned that the landscape, it's shifted a bit since, say, 2020, 2021, regarding those higher percentage thresholds.
Yeah, that's an important point, worth keeping in mind.
What does that mean for who might be eligible right now?
Well, during the earlier stages of the pandemic, we saw eligibility get wider for some programs temporarily.
Right, the emergency relief stuff.
Exactly. Those higher income thresholds, like 150% or 200% of FPL, they were more common then. But as those temporary measures have ended,
the eligibility requirements for a lot of programs, they've generally tightened back up, returned to more standard levels.
so closer to that 100% to maybe 130% of FPL range.
Often, yeah. That's more typical now. So look, it's still absolutely worth exploring programs, even if your income is a bit above the poverty line.
Okay.
But that really broad eligibility we saw a few years back, it's less prevalent now.
Okay, that's really crucial context for everyone listening. Now, shifting gears slightly, when we talk about income related to the FPL, what exactly counts? What gets included in that calculation? I know that trips people up sometimes.
It does. That's a really, really important question to clarify because it directly impacts whether you meet those income limits.
So what's the deal?
Generally speaking, income here is defined pretty broadly.
Right.
It includes money coming in from, well, all sorts of sources.
Like your job, obviously.
Yep. Wages from employment, full-time, part-time, doesn't matter. Also, crucially, income from self-employment.
So, like, if you sell stuff online, have a side gig, run a small business, all of that counts, yes. And importantly, for many listeners, it also covers fixed income benefits.
Okay, like Social Security.
Exactly. Social Security, retirement, SSDI, survivor benefits, spousal benefits, SSI,
What about VA benefits?
or railroad retirement.
Those two. Payments from the VA, Department of Veterans Affairs, and the Railroad Retirement Board, RRB. They're included.
So basically, any money coming into the household regularly.
Pretty much, yeah. That's the general rule.
Right.
If it's money you or your household members are receiving consistently, it's usually counted towards that FPL calculation.
Okay. Paycheck, benefit payment, side hustle cash.
Yeah,
It all gets factored in. That's super clear and really important.
it is.
So let's bring this right back to you, the listener. Let's use some specific income scenarios based on those 2025 FPL figures. How can you use this info right now to check your own potential eligibility for, more financial help?
Okay, let's do it. If you are an individual, just one person,
Yep.
and your annual income is below $15,650.
Or that was about $13,304 a month. Right. Below $13,304 monthly. If that's you, then you fall below the 2025 federal poverty line for a single person.
Oh, what does that likely mean?
As our sources indicate, it likely means you could be eligible for a number of these benefit programs we've discussed, potentially leading to some significant financial relief.
Okay.
Now, each program has its own specific rules, sure, but being below this income threshold, that's a key starting point for getting support.
Okay. And for folks in a two-person household, what are their key numbers?
For a two-person household, the income figures to watch are annual income below $21,150
$21,150.
or monthly income below roughly $1,762.
Okay, under $1,762 a month for two people.
If your total household income is below that level, you're below the FTL for a household of two. And again, that strongly suggests you could be eligible for various assistance programs. Valuable financial support could be available.
Got it. But it's important to remember, right? Income isn't the only factor.
That's crucial, yes. As our sources emphasize, while your income compared to the FPL is usually the primary thing, it's not the only one. Other factors can definitely play a role, like where you live, the state matters, the size and makeup of your household, beyond just one or two people.
And specific program rules too, right?
Absolutely. Specific requirements for each program. But understanding where your income sits next to these FPL figures, that's the critical first step. Step one in exploring if there's more financial help out there for you.
Now, we touched on this earlier, but let's really underline it. Why are these annual FPL adjustments, even though the dollar amounts might seem kind of small, why are they actually a big deal, a significant benefit for people relying on these programs, looking for more financial breathing room?
Right. The annual adjustments, they act like a really vital protection, a safeguard.
How so?
Well, think about the general cost of living, right? Groceries, rent, utilities, it tends to go up over time, inflation, other economic stuff.
Sure.
These modest increases in the poverty line, they help make sure that people whose incomes stay pretty flat, they don't accidentally lose their benefits just because the income benchmark didn't keep up with those rising costs.
Oh, okay. It keeps the safety net in place.
Exactly. It helps maintain that safety net for those who need it most.
That makes perfect sense. It's
Yeah.
like this crucial tweak that stops people from being like unfairly kicked off vital support, safeguarding their financial well-being.
Well put.
And as our sources also hinted, if the FPL goes up, but maybe some people's incomes don't keep pace, that could actually mean more people become eligible, right?
Well, that's the flip side, exactly.
Yeah.
In a scenario where the poverty line increases, but incomes for a part of the population stay stagnant, then yes, more individuals and families would mathematically fall below those updated poverty thresholds. Which means an expansion of eligibility. People who maybe weren't eligible last year might now qualify for programs offering significant financial help. It just highlights that direct link between these FPL adjustments and potential increases in financial support access.
So the big takeaway here, the core message is, these numbers, they're not just dry statistics on a government website.
Not at all.
They have a very real, very tangible impact on whether or not you might qualify for programs. Programs that could give you significant financial relief, boost your overall stability.
Precisely. The 2025 federal poverty line figures, that's $15,650 for one person, $21,150 for two people. They are vital benchmarks. They directly influence your access to a whole range of financial and support programs.
And the recent increases, even if they seem small.
Even if they seem small individually, together they play a crucial role. Maintaining access, maybe even expanding access to these really important benefits. And that can translate into real financial advantages for you.
So here's what I really want you listening right now to do. Take a few minutes seriously.
Yeah.
Honestly, assess your own household income compared to these figures we just talked about.
Yeah, do that check.
It could be incredibly worthwhile to then explore some of the specific benefit programs we mentioned, SNAP, Medicaid, LIHEAP, the others.
See if you might now be eligible.
Exactly. See if you might qualify for additional financial support or resources that maybe you weren't aware of before. This really could be the key to unlocking some unexpected financial benefits.
Which leads to, I think, a really important question for you, the listener, to think about.
Yeah.
Given these updated poverty lines and the variety of programs tied to them, what steps are you going to take to investigate the potential benefits available to you, to your household?
And how might finding those resources actually help improve your financial well-being in the coming year?
Taking that time, making those calls, checking those websites, it really could lead to a significant positive impact on your finances. Definitely worth looking into.